Welcome to Inside Houston. I'm your guest host, Shad Boggany, and tonight we're going to be talking about reverse mortgages. My guest into the studio with us tonight is Scott Norm with Finance of America. Scott, welcome to Inside Houston.
Shad, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Scott, you see all these commercials on TV, and a lot of them are targeted towards seniors, of course, and people don't really know what's what because everything is coming to them left and right. And when I do my radio show, one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is, what is a reverse mortgage? So let's start the show off by letting people know exactly what a reverse mortgage is. And hope today we're going to cut through the myths. We're going to give you the real deal so you'll know what reverse mortgages are.
Sure. Well, first off, let me just congratulate you again on all your successes on the TV show, on your radio show, and just being a fan of what you've done for real estate in the state of Texas.
Thank you.
Over the last few decades is really, it's a great accomplishment, so congratulations on that. As it relates to a reverse mortgage, the simple piece is that a reverse mortgage is very much like a traditional home equity loan. Don't let the reverse throw you into left field, which I think is one thing that is unfortunate, that the name is not a great name, right? Reverse mortgage, it sounds weird. You don't know exactly what it is and it throws people off. But at its very simplest form, a reverse mortgage is a type of home equity loan. It allows you to monetize a portion of the equity in your home and then turn around and utilize that home equity for anything from home health care to prescription drugs to property taxes to homeowners insurance, for anything you may need. Now, what makes it so unique is that there is not a traditional monthly mortgage payment made on the reverse mortgage. You still own your home, which is important. So the lender does not own your home. The lender does not get your home. So the lender just puts a lien against the property, just like you would on a traditional 30-year fixed rate. Mm-hmm. But it allows you the ability to stay in your home, to age in your home, monetize your home equity, access your home equity, and hopefully live and maintain your home equity and your lifestyle over the next 10, 15 years.
Well, who's eligible, Scott, for a reverse mortgage?
So a reverse mortgage is designed for homeowners who are age 62 and over. So both borrowers traditionally need to be age 62 and over, and it needs to be their primary residence. And traditionally, it's for people who are looking for different ways to maintain or enhance their retirement. Because a lot of people just simply, either through their 401k or their IRA or their pension or their Social Security, are realizing that at some point it's expensive to grow old in America. And so we're looking for different ways to utilize some of that home equity so we can age in place, stay in your home, and really live out your retirement years.
You touched on it a little bit that both parties need to be, both people need to be 62. So someone who's 70 and his wife is 59 could not do a reverse mortgage.
That's correct. Both borrowers in the state of Texas both need to be age 62 and over.
Okay. What are the advantages of the reverse mortgage? You touched on a little bit, but really, people are seeing so many commercials on them. And one of the things I like, and I will tell you, viewing audience, that Scott did my mother's reverse mortgage, so that's how much confidence I have in him, and I couldn't endorse him even more because of that, and I could have picked from several, but he was the most knowledgeable. So what are the true advantages of a reverse mortgage?
I'm glad you asked that question, and I'm glad you asked the aspect of advantages, because with any loan, any financial product, there are advantages and disadvantages. So I think that's important to know. You see a lot of the TV commercials that all talk about rainbows and cupcakes and balloons and everybody's happy, and that's simply just not always the case.
Okay.
Because there are advantages and there are disadvantages. One of the advantages is that a reverse mortgage allows you to age in place. It allows you to stay in your property, because a lot of people do not want to sell. I don't want to sell. I don't want to downsize. This is where we've grown up. This is where our memories are. This is where our grandchildren play in the backyard. Selling is not really a very good option. Now, sometimes it may be the only option, and I certainly would be an advocate of that. But one of the advantages is it allows you to, A, stay in your home, B, access some of that equity, and then you can then turn back that equity, depending on how you access your funds, and I know we're going to talk about that in a minute, to really be in a position where you can maintain your overall lifestyle.
Okay. What is the most that you can get of your equity? I know Texas has some pretty good strict homestead laws, home equity laws, what's the most that you can get out of your property from a reverse mortgage side?
So it's a great question. So a reverse mortgage is really the cousin to the existing Texas home equity laws.
Okay.
So that's important to know, because don't mistake a traditional Texas home equity loan with a Texas reverse mortgage loan. They're cousins, if you will.
Okay.
So on a home equity loan in Texas, you can access right at 80% of your home's value minus minus anything you owe on it. A reverse mortgage is similar, but it's going to be closer to that 55-60% number versus the 80%. So a reverse mortgage you can access a little bit less than you can on a traditional home equity loan. And the primary reason for that is that you don't make a traditional monthly mortgage payment on a reverse mortgage. Very different, outside of the box. And so a lot of people really kind of get concerned, well, why would you not make a mortgage payment on it? How does that work? Is it possible that I could possibly have my home taken from me? What am I missing about the reverse mortgage? And so we always bring in the idea of, let's talk about an overall plan. Let's talk about your budget. Let's talk about what you're trying to get accomplished with a reverse mortgage, because there may be some instances, Shad, when a reverse mortgage simply is not the best option. You may just need to sell your home and downsize. But the advantage, the real advantage, is the ability to stay in your home and access your own home equity and live your life the way you would like it to be lived.
So once I do the reverse mortgage, do I still need to pay my taxes and insurance on my home?
You do. So just like a traditional mortgage, there's no difference between a home equity loan or a 30-year fixed rate or a reverse mortgage. You own your home, and so therefore you are responsible for taxes and insurance.
Upkeep, maintenance, all that.
Maintenance. So it's not a grant, if you will.
Okay.
Some people say, well, if you're not making a payment, it must be a grant. A reverse mortgage is not a grant. It is a loan. There's a loan on your property. There's a lien on your property, if you will. But you still own your home. You could sell it at any time. You could prepay your mortgage at any time. But yes, that's a great question. You do absolutely have to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance, just like you would on any other loan.
You know, are there several different types of reverse mortgage? You've hinted on a little bit that how do you get you get a certain amount of money here, can you get it all in lump sum? Can you get it monthly back to you? How does it work? What types of reverse mortgage, or is it just one reverse mortgage?
So there is one FHA loan,
okay,
which is the FHA, which is an FHA insured loan by HUD. And so with a reverse mortgage, it can be accessed in a lot of different ways. Some people might want just a true lump sum payment. Some people might want monthly payments. Some people may want a combination of. You can also have a line of credit, if you will. So it really depends on your personality. It depends on what your financial situation is. It depends on what your health situation is to some extent. Not that the health aspect is our business, but I just bring that up because when you really are trying to figure out what is a reverse mortgage, is it good for me, and how can it benefit me, you really want to really try to break down what am I trying to get accomplished. And that's the number one thing. Because some people might just simply want to pay off their existing mortgage, which is really the number one thing we see, is I want to pay off my existing mortgage, which would then free up additional abilities for me to maintain my retirement. And then the second thing we see, Shad, all the time is some sort of home improvement. I'd like to fix my roof. I'd like to fix my air conditioning unit. Certainly, obviously, we've seen some real disasters in Houston over the last few months. And so a reverse mortgage is really a customized home equity loan for you and what I'd call your extended family.
You brought up something that I did not have in my notes, but I think is an appropriate question to ask you. In Houston, we've had the flooding. How does that affect reverse mortgages that have reverse mortgages on it?
Well, so most lenders are going to be dealing with the federal government quite a bit. Okay. I know that it's my understanding that most lenders have gone out and have done a type of an inspection on every property in Houston, or I'd say the Gulf Coast of both Texas and in Florida. And a letter has been sent to every borrower just to see, how is your property, what can be done, because it's not that different than what would happen if the house were to have a flooding damage or if it would have a fire damage. Certainly your homeowner's insurance that you've been paying hopefully would be able to be in a position to take care of most of your insurance needs, if you will.
Okay. And you do require, if my house is paid off and I'm not carrying insurance at this time to do a reverse mortgage, you do require them to go get
That
a policy.
that is correct, because once again, you own your property, and so the bank doesn't own your property, you own it, and therefore you're responsible for taxes, insurance, and making sure the house is insured and insured for replacement value.
Well, here in Inside Houston, our viewers are all different incomes. What's the most you can get on a reverse mortgage as far as what's the highest price home that you can do, and what's your lowest?
Well, there really is not a high or a low. We've seen property values in the millions that take out a reverse mortgage.
Wow.
And we've seen homes in the $30,000-$40,000 range that take out a reverse mortgage. And I think that's important, because a reverse mortgage, one thing that's unique about a reverse mortgage is the safety components, the consumer protections in a reverse mortgage. It doesn't matter if you're the most economically challenged homeowner in the greater Houston area, or if you have extended family wealth. Everybody is underwritten the same way. And so it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what education level you have, everybody is going to be underwritten the same way. And I think that's one of the real beauties of a reverse mortgage. So everybody's going to be treated equal. And it just gives you an ability to have your own freedom. This is your own home equity, and it allows you to be able to access your equity and do with that money with what you choose.
Now, as we move forward, one of the things that I've noticed also, Scott, is that what happens when people have gotten older, they got a reverse mortgage, and they're moving into assisted living care place. And what happens at that point if they're moving out of the house?
Sure. So you've done your homework. A lot of really good questions. So a reverse mortgage, it can't really be called due, if you will. It can't become due and payable until the death of the surviving borrower, sale of the property, or vacancy of the property for 12 consecutive months without the lender knowing your whereabouts.
Right.
That's the only way it can come due and payable. Now, what we see quite a bit is that borrowers will come out and take a reverse mortgage, and then at some point, one, if not both of the borrowers will need to move into some sort of assisted living facility. At that time, traditionally what would happen is the kids would get together, sell the home, probably hire you to sell the home, pay off the existing mortgage, and then whatever equity is left would go back to the heirs or the estate. Or find some way to use that money to then turn back around and take care of mom and dad's nursing home needs. Okay,
because I'm getting nursing homes calling me saying, well, the mom needs to get rid of the house, and I guess it has to do with Medicaid or Medicare or some sort of arrangement there, and we find out they've got a reverse mortgage on it. And so if they're out of the house 12 months, they have to sell it, but they may have moved out 3 months, but they're not required to sell it unless they've been out 12 months.
12 consecutive months. And I think that's important, because certainly we want this to be a very much a senior-friendly product. I mean, this is something that people should certainly look at. It may not be for every homeowner in Houston, Texas, but every homeowner should at least look at the options associated with a reverse mortgage, because everybody is interested in the aging of America. Everybody's concerned about their own retirement. Everybody's concerned about their mom and dad. And so a reverse mortgage simply helps you access all of your overall equity. So you've got your 401k, your IRA, your Social Security, but your home equity piece is a major piece of your retirement. In most cases, your home equity represents a majority of your overall net worth. Right. So our policy is, why are we not having a public policy discussion with city councils and the legislature and the Congress about helping seniors monetize their home equity so they can age in place, stay in their house, and really have a much better retirement than they ordinarily would have if they weren't in position to access their home equity.
This was probably one of my last questions, but I want to bring it up because I want to end on a down note.
Okay.
What are the disadvantages of the reverse mortgage?
Great question. Like there are advantages, there certainly are disadvantages. So, certainly for some, you're going to have to be in a position where you have to pay taxes and insurance. So that's going to be a piece of it. You have to certainly qualify for a reverse mortgage, just like you would have to qualify for a traditional mortgage loan. That is looking at your overall credit history, looking at your income, making sure you're in a position where you can take care of your property taxes, take care of your homeowner's insurance. And so is that a disadvantage? I don't know, but certainly it's not since it's not a grant, you don't want to take out a reverse mortgage and then turn back around and sell the home in a year.
Okay.
Because it's certainly just not good business. It's
Right.
just like you wouldn't refinance your home, or you probably wouldn't buy a home and then turn back around and sell it in 6
Right,
months necessarily.
right.
So I think that piece is important, and I know we'll talk about this in the second segment, but it all really revolves around your budget.
Okay.
And so that's clearly important. I know we'll talk about that in our next session.
I want to thank you for watching the first section of Reverse Mortgages with Scott Norman with Finance America. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Inside Houston. I'm your guest host, Shad Boggany.